Hey, g'day again everybody. In this lesson I'm going to show you how to create a stop motion animation inside of Adobe Premiere Pro. So what you'll first need to do is you'll have to have a series of images that you've photographed in sequence. Now anytime we're working in Premiere Pro, it's really important that we create a folder and all of our assets live and stay in that folder. By what I mean by assets, any photographs, which we're going to use in this case, video clips, graphics, everything needs to stay in that folder so that you don't, otherwise you'll have problems later on if you move files around and things like that. Premiere Pro won't be able to find them. So that's, before we get started, just make sure you create a folder. Mine's called stop motion animation example, and here are all my images here that I photographed. And if I just scroll through them, you can see on the right I've just written my name, okay, Mr. Konomos, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put all of these photos in Premiere Pro and then put them in the timeline, then animate them. So first of all, find Adobe Premiere Pro and open it up. There it is there. We'll just wait for it to load up. Okay, this is probably going to be the first time some of you will be using this program. So look, all we need to do is, if you go into New Project, you could give it a title. Let's just call it Stop Motion for now, or whatever you like. Now click on the Browse button here, and this is the location that your Premiere Pro project will be saved to. So again, it's important that you put it in that same folder that you just created. Okay, so I'm going to put it in here, even though my images are in here. I'm just going to go into my main folder here and choose that. That's the location. You don't have to really touch anything else. Click OK, and we'll be in Premiere Pro. Now, the first thing you should do is, at the moment up here, you can see there's different words up here. Let's just make sure editing is selected, and that'll set our workspace into editing mode. And if you're doing the same, if you've got the same workspace as me, this will be a lot easier, so you'll be able to follow on. Okay, so over here, this is where we can import our photographs to. And if I double click, it'll open your Finder, and you can find the location. Now, it's important that we import the folder and not the individual images like so, all right, because this way it will sequence the photographs in the order that we want. So if we click import here, select the folder with all your photographs in it, import, and that'll bring a folder into Premiere Pro. Now I'm pretty sure all we need to do is click and drag it into our timeline, which is over here, and that will create our sequence. So if you click, hold and drag this folder, drop it in there, and you can see I've got about, 15 or 20 photos. Each of these pink rectangles represent one of the photographs. Okay, so this section here is your timeline, and what I'm dragging back and forth here is the playhead. So at the moment it goes for 1 minute 39 seconds. So if I just press play on the controls here, all right, what's happening is Premiere Pro defaults to each still photograph at 5 seconds in length. So that's not going to be very good for our animation because it's going to happen way too slowly. So we want to speed that up. And the way to do that is, if you click, hold and drag out a marquee over all your clips, make sure all of them are selected. And then if we go to right click that, and then if we scroll down and find, there's an option here called speed and duration. And now what we can do is we can change the duration from 4.2, wait a minute, is that? Okay, I'll click on speed. All right, okay, let's change the duration to maybe, that's 1 minute. Let's go right down to say, 10 seconds. And make sure you tick this box here, ripple edit. What that will do is, because that's going to shorten each clip quite dramatically, and then if we don't click that, we'll be left with a gap between each clip. This way there'll be no gap, and they will physically move to be repositioned one after the other next to each other. So let's click OK, and now we can't even see our clips. So if you can't, you can actually zoom in on your timeline. So if you make sure your timeline is selected, and you know it's selected because there is this blue um, box around it, and if you just simply press the plus key on your keyboard, it will zoom in and minus will zoom out. So now I can see my clips. Let's press play. Okay, so now we're animating. All right, still going a bit slow for me. So what I might do is I might right click again. Let's go back to speed and duration. Let's go to 5 seconds. So I might just physically delete that and type 0.5 for 5 seconds. And make sure ripple edit is selected again, and you can see all our clips are shortened. So that's half the time, and we're going a bit quicker now. All right. So I might just, while I'm here, I might just show you how to export it. All right. So the quickest way to export in Premiere Pro is to go up to File, and let's go to Export down here. Choose Media, and your export sequence will come up. Now, what you want to do is we want to change the format to H.264, and our preset, let's just leave it at high bitrate for a minute. You could, if your file size is a bit small, you could go to medium bitrate if you wanted to. But if I look down here, estimated file size is only 4 megabytes, so that's quite small. So the only thing you need to do now is output name, and just click the blue right in and just call it stop motion or whatever you want to call it, and export it. It's just good practice to the same folder that our project is in. So stop motion example, you can see my project file there. Click save. You'll see the output name is saved. Export nothing, you shouldn't have to touch anything else, that should be fine. So it's just H.264. Keep the preset as is, high bitrate, and just click on the blue to change the file name and set the location. Then just click export, and it's going to encode and render it, and that's done that pretty quickly. So if I go into my Finder now, and you can see I've got an MP4 video file, and if I double click that, let me press play. There it is there. Okay, so that's how to create a basic slideshow in Adobe Premiere Pro. Thank you. Bye.